Hi, this is for Congress. My name is Anna Grace Raddick. I ran for the 9th Congressional District out of Massachusetts against Congressman Keating in 2016. I'm a victim of life insurance fraud. I'd been to DC. I'd been to every senator's office and most congressional offices to share an idea I had for a new ID program for victims of life insurance fraud. Right now there's only one ID program. It's called Witness Protection. It's actually for a completely different subset of people. My ID program would be available through local police, working with an interagency protocol with the U.S. Marshals and the FBI. A victim like myself would be able to obtain a new ID within 2 weeks, which would allow them to live safely in their hometown with their family and friends. I just wanted to talk about the importance of something like this. I found out that a lot of veterans, military, and police officers are signing life insurance policies. My grandfather was a U.S. Marine, and my grandmother was a Navy nurse. I myself wanted to be a police officer. I was a social worker for a number of years. I'm a good citizen. I work really hard. And I found out that I'm a victim of human trafficking, which is a form of slavery. I did not know that white women could be victims of slavery in this country. I just found that out. Having been a victim of this crime, I feel like I have now a new sensibility as to how it feels to be an outsider. My complaints have not been taken seriously. I have not been able to get a new ID. The Social Security Administration refuses to give me one. And even though I took a civil service exam and I also ran for Congress, I still have not been able to get a new Social Security number that would secure my life. I'm being harassed a lot. I'm actually being stalked. I'm being threatened in horrible and heinous ways, mostly related to my gender. I'm also a victim of just so many different crimes, and also sexual crimes. So this wouldn't have happened to me if I had just been able to get a new Social Security number. The reason why this is happening is because I did report it to police and I reported it to the FBI. I'm being punished. So I learned that in order to get the women into prostitution, since this happened, in order to get women into prostitution, they do use drugs to get people into the city so they can exploit white women. I don't do drugs. I actually got exploited through a life insurance policy. I was a housewife at that time. But I learned that somebody was actually behind the scenes and that they had drugged me so that I wouldn't go anywhere, and all of these horrible things. So I went to the U.S. Marshals and they told me there's nothing they could do to help me, so I said I developed a new ID program, and they thought it was great. They're like, well, good luck, but you're really treading a fine line. I learned since that there could be like a protection racket. Racketeering is actually illegal, and so I've learned that, but it does seem kind of unfair that the granddaughter of a U.S. Marine can't get a new ID and is being treated like this. The problem with having a racket to protect veterans, military, police, and their families up to 10 generations is that what it would do is it would protect people, but it would create a system where the police don't help victims. Like, I went up to the police and they told me there's nothing they could do. It's out of their hands. And so I felt like what these future people who may be targeted for insurance policies would feel. And so I really feel that what really needs to be done is a corporatization of MetLife. Steve Kandarian used to work for the government, and so a lot of people working at MetLife used to work for the government. There's called a revolving door. And I can't quite understand why someone has to die for life insurance at all. Like, why there's so many different ways they could move their money around, because they are money laundering. And I'm not sure if they realize that the traffickers that they hire and the hitmen that they hire are harassing people to the extent I've been harassed. I really can't convey the lack of human rights and the violation that I've experienced has been extreme. I'm a very level-headed person and a very strong person, and I think most people would have been broken from this experience. I'm trying to use my experience in a positive way to try to help this situation. I've been told that, like, maybe what they should do is not have these crimes happen in the United States, and I think that's true. A lot of police officers and military think that they are protected. They're actually not protected, and a lot of children of people who serve are actually even targeted for drugs, and I know people who have been targeted for drugs even though their families were in the service. So it just seems like organized crime is in a free-for-all. The idea of certain protections given to the police seems like a good idea. I had mentioned this in another video, but at the same time, it doesn't afford protections for other groups of people. So, I mean, there being a warrior caste, it's true that people who come from a certain caste of people who fight and stuff like that, it seems unfair that they would be selected for life insurance or to die in any heinous way, having the blood of people like that. But at the same time, you know, I think the weaker among us do need our help. I was told that cigarette companies, you know, they raise the prices on cigarettes, they're taxing them now. And cigarette manufacturers are actually, they're actually courting groups of people, and it's not in the United States. So I think that, like, what needs to be happening is I really think that what needs to be happening is not putting this problem somewhere else, in some other place. Although I want to protect my own people, and I want to protect this government and this country and the people in it, including even like other groups of people that I would like to protect. I mean, my family came here to work. I'm a worker. I'm not a prostitute. And for me to get attacked like this, I just think it's so wrong. My family came here to work, and I learned that the Irish people were considered slaves and that they are actually regularly attacked for life insurance. A lot of the people who came off the boat, Germans, Irish people, Italians, whatever, Scandinavians, these people came here to work. These people come from, the culture in Europe is actually more monogamous and not really given to, you know, prostitution types of things. And the people who came here came to work. They actually left Europe to get away from this kind of thing. And I have come here and I have been humiliated and exploited, and I can't even get a social security number to save my life, even though I said, you know, hey, I took a job at the post office, I tried to fit in, I ran for Congress. I still can't get a new life-saving ID, and I'm getting threatened every single day. So, I mean, pawning this off to like another place in the world doesn't seem like a good idea, because the amount of suffering that I've gone through is so extreme. It's not even humane on any single level. I really think that I feel that MetLife and Prudential need to do an overhaul of their system and either produce fake death certificates or work with the Social Security Administration to basically create fake identities of things to roll money around, or come up with some completely different system that preserves and saves the dignity and sanctity of life. You know, I mean, I don't know what's going on here, if there's some kind of power struggle, like someone's just like basically exerting power over me as a woman, a powerless woman. I'm just like a regular person. Like, maybe they don't like the fact that I fought back. It's really sad. And if people knew in law enforcement what is happening to these women, I've learned that these men scare women so badly, like pimps, but they even someone's using a drone technology in order to hurt women into submission. And I actually, at great risk to myself, I'm speaking up against this. I'm told I'll be thrown into a prison, or someone will try to label me with hysteria or some kind of made-up disease. I'm being hurt for $1 million life insurance policy. I feel like I deserve a new Social Security number. And if MetLife wants to cash out their money, why doesn't the government just give me a new Social Security number and they can do it with my old ID? I tried to work with the government, and the fact that no one's really looking into this matter, I feel like there's gender bias. I feel like this is sexism. It's because this country is a patriarchy. And, how, in Roman times, they didn't really provide protections for veterans. Well, in Europe, they did. They actually provided protections for warrior people and people who fought like in the armies. And the very elitist people in this country are not doing that. They're actually not providing protections for their own warriors as well as their own people that live here. They're actually feeding off of the people that live here as commodities to be trafficked into situations where they sign life insurance policies and then murdered. This really needs to stop. This is like a violation of human rights, and I just don't even know how to express what a violation this is. And I want to just let everybody know in the government, a lot of people, I don't have much time, but a lot of people who are in the government, I think that they want to run for president. Well, just ask yourself if you're really fit to run for president, because anyone who leaves a woman like this in distress and doesn't help them get a new Social Security number, it's not fit to be president. Being president is only for the very brave, and to be honest with you, I feel like on a lot of the people that I spoke with, no offense, in the government, I feel that I am more courageous than you. You guys are not sticking up for the right things. This is a big problem. I'm actually one of the people that actually came to the forefront at great risk to myself and my reputation. I deserve a new Social Security number, and for you guys to leave me in the lurch just because I'm female or because I'm obscure, like some girl in the middle of nowhere, is wrong. That's not what people do who are supposed to protect their country. Just doesn't even make any sense why anybody would just leave someone and their own people behind, no child left behind, no person left behind, no soldier left behind. This has a real comparison to the Benghazi thing. My grandfather was a Marine, would really appreciate if you gave me a Social Security number. Everybody criticizes Hillary Clinton for leaving all the soldiers in Benghazi. What about all the soldiers that are being left to die for life insurance policies in this country? Sure, it's not a foot soldier war, it's more a financial war, it's more abstract, but it is a war. And somebody is just letting these people die. And I think it's the entire United States government that won't address this problem. And I'm asking you to address this problem with a new ID program. It's not a solution, but it's going to help a lot of people live.